All right, we are going to do a quick little one today. I'm excited because we're going to start maybe trying to do some more of these to like have little fill-ins because I mean, it's always good to have some backup episodes anyway. But what we want to hash out really quick today, I'll get straight into it. We want to talk about how did I exactly word it? Um, being adopted. There we go. Being adopted can make it harder to find your identity. And I shared this with Delancey. And the reason I shared this with Delancey is because she said something in a previous episode that really struck me that I love, that I feel like a lot of people try to push the narrative of because they are adopted, there's a lot more hardship their way. And I know with me and Delancey, we totally don't even like address that or believe that because I'll let like what did you tell me? I'll let you say it. What did you say about adoption and identity, Delancey? You say it.
I'm pretty sure I said that adoption isn't my whole personality.
Yeah,
It's not everything. Does it play a role in who I am? Yes, it does. But is it everything of who I am? No,
exactly.
because your personality isn't made up of one thing. Your personality is a combination of a multiple different things that you've gone through, you've experienced, you've learned to help to mold you into who you are. Because I feel like your personality goes along with your character and they go hand in hand. If that makes sense.
Yes.
And being adopted, that just, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it plays a part, but it's not everything.
Oh
You know what
no.
I mean?
No, I totally agree. And that's where I get confused on why people say that being adopted can make it harder to find your identity. Okay. I, I don't think that's the truth. Is there things I would like to know about my Colombian background? Of course, but it's not, oh my gosh, I have to find out my identity. It is
Right,
nothing of that sort. It
right,
is because if you are born into your family as well, you can have roots somewhere else and you might know you're not fully know your roots and you're with your biological parents and that's still
right.
something for you to discover, but it's not like, oh my gosh, my identity is broken because I know nothing of this. Like I
Well,
I just can't.
not just that, but if you look at it, it's no one thing makes up your identity. No one thing does. Like,
Yes.
both of us are very faith based. We're both, we both believe in God. We both have those different things. And, whereas Christianity is a big part of my identity and it does go into my morality, but, I would like to think like, other things factor
Right?
into it too. Like,
Yes.
it,
Yes.
it's not just holistically we're adopted.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what molds who we are. Now, I think where the struggle is with the identity and things like that is because people focus too much on the one thing
That makes
for
sense.
their identity. Because they're like, say, for example, and this is not knocking anybody, this is just a quick little example of it's kind of like those stay-at-home moms. And not every stay-at-home mom. Let's fix that real quick. Not every stay-at-home mom, but there are some stay-at-home moms where that's all they are. They're Simon's mom. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Simon's mom
Yeah.
and Jeffrey's wife.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they're known for. And they may have a wonderful life and they may be and and later they may struggle going, I don't even know, say something, God forbid, terrible happens, and they're not Jeffrey's wife anymore for
Right.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or, Simon grows up and gets married. You may be Simon's mom, but Simon's wife is gonna, or whatever, is gonna step in and take that place. Like you're not gonna be those things anymore. And if you focus, I think if we put too much stock into one thing to make our identity, I mean,
No, I love that.
I don't, I feel like I just feel like if you focus too much on it, and that's where like the adoptees who are so anti-adoption, they're like, I'm adopted, it's making me struggle. You're making yourself struggle. Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Get out
Yeah.
of your own way, and you're taking like you're selling yourself short on experiences, and you're using something that is just a portion of who you are. to
Right.
create an excuse as to why you're not fulfilling everything you can be.
Yes.
Ooh, that was good.
No, that
You
was good.
should
That
hear
was
this
deep.
more when I'm in my office. I sound super smart.
Well, it's like quote. I've already heard like three things come out of your mouth that I'm like, ooh, that's a quote. Ooh, that's a quote. Ooh, that's a quote. No, seriously though. No. And I love that you said that because it's 100% true. And I like how you use the analogy of the stay-at-home moms because there are, especially the moms that stay home. And it's like you said, it's not a bad thing. But maybe later on in
Mm,
life, when their kids are grown up or they're not doing the whole stay-at-home mom shenanigan anymore, then you have to rediscover who you are. I feel like
right.
even
And you
after
have to figure
kids,
it out.
yeah, even after
Well,
kids, if you work full time, you still have to
yeah,
discover
you still
the
have to
flow of
figure it
things.
out. Well, I mean,
It's
and it goes to the whole time, like stay home moms. When if your kids are in school, while they're in school, go take like a class or something
exactly.
to help continue develop. You're stunting your development, your emotional, mental, spiritual development by focusing on one part of what makes you who you are.
Yes. Yes. No, and
It's not okay.
no, and I love that. And that for me, like even solidifies whatever thing, like what me and you do. This is something I've always wanted to do, but I feel like I've been so busy with mom life, speaking of, and just like how things get that way. And then it can happen. You know what I mean? It can, like,
Hi.
he just let me know he's done with his lunch. But you know what I mean? Like, then
Right.
there's a time, and I know for me, I know it was meant to be when it was meant to be. But I love that I add this in, and this is something, on Tuesday nights, like I've already told people, and my husband knows what time you podcast tonight. It never changes, but he always asks me just to make sure we're doing it. But you know
Just
what
to
I mean?
double
Like,
check.
I agree with that. You need to find things besides one thing that you think you are just is your identity. There's so many different things you can do. And that's what Delancey, I love that she said that there's so many different things put together to make you who you are, not just one thing. And being
It's not
adopted is
just one
not
thing.
just the one thing that makes me and Delancey who we are. Is it amazing and wonderful and makes something very unique about us? And we
Mhm.
own it and we love it and we know we're special because of it. Hell yeah. But it's not just like we're like, oh, you know what I mean? I don't know. I
That
just
would be like me making my job my whole entire personality. Because trust me, I know some people who make their jobs their personalities.
me too.
I love my job. I love the fact that my job, Melina knows how busy my schedule is and how crazy my schedule is. And if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see a little bit of what my office looks like. Oftentimes, like it's a very, very busy thing, but it's not everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about the school that I work with. I'm very passionate about the people I work with,
Yeah.
but it's not everything.
Right.
We, like you said, I do this podcast with you because I want something else, serve in the church. I volunteer and do other things. Like I have other aspects. You have other aspects.
Yes.
You can't be a person that makes like just tunnel, you just can't do tunnel vision. I just,
No. No. No, and it's
could
and it
you imagine? Oh,
no,
so,
no. And I feel like you're going to discover different parts of your identity or yourself your whole
mhm,
entire life if you're willing to be open to it. You know what I
mhm,
mean? It's not one
mhm.
destination and then
Uh-huh.
you're done. It's constant figuring because life changes, things change, you change, you know what I mean? You
You
can't just
continue to
stop.
grow and develop as time goes on. Like
Exactly.
you weren't always a wife. You weren't
No.
always a mom.
Mm-mm. No.
At some point, you were just a daughter and a sister.
Yeah.
You
It goes
know,
same with you for being in like
yeah,
an aunt. You know what I
being
mean? You
like
haven't
I
always been an
was a
aunt.
daughter, yeah, daughter, sister, aunt.
Yeah.
Now I'm, a working professional. Like there's different. You have to be open and willing to change. And when you use an excuse of something to stunt you, probably not going to be well received by people who feel this way, but you are the only one that's holding yourself back.
No, say it louder.
Like, I mean, like it's true.
It
If I
is.
if I try to pull the whole entire thing of, you know, I with my mental health, if I try to pull the reason I struggled with my mental health and with depression and things like that, if there's no actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because I don't care who listens. Because my mom, actually shared with my bio mom whenever they were talking and stuff. My mom like let her know like stuff that I'd gone through and things, and like had talked to her about mental health. And the first thing, and this is honestly what should have been my red flag, what should have been the like first red flag to me. And I don't care who hears this, but this needs to be said. The first thing that the bio mom said to my mother was, "Is it because she's adopted?"
That just hurts my heart.
Well,
Because it's like, why?
and my mom literally said no.
Good.
My mom was like, no, it had nothing to do with that.
Good.
Like, and you know, for those who are listening, we'll get into like details later as to why I said red flag. You know, we'll talk through it whenever I feel like sharing about it. But that's the thing that even people in the within the adoption community, it's almost like they can't. It's almost like they can't fathom that those that are adopted will go through a hard time, and it has nothing to do with adoption. Like
Right.
it goes back to the whole entire my I'm gonna say this loud and proud. I suffered, I had depression and it was really bad. No one knew how bad it was, but it was really bad. Had nothing to do with the fact I was adopted. It had to do with the fact that I had made certain choices in my life that were not working for me, and it just downward spiraled.
Oh,
And no matter the different things that I tried to do to pull myself out of it, I was not close with God. I was close with my family, but like I never told them anything because I didn't want them to worry.
right.
It's it never came down to my identity.
Yeah.
Now, and that's not saying that some people don't struggle with that. You may struggle
Right.
with that. And if you do,
Right.
get help, talk
Yeah.
through it, work it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Stop. You will never, you will never survive your mental health and be a stronger human being if you don't ask for help, and B, stop using the crutches and
Yes.
excuses.
Yeah.
Because I can't change the people that I was around that were affecting my mental health and were like slowly destroying me from, and I just didn't
Yeah.
see it because I just wanted somebody to appreciate me, which is looking back at just a whole other thing. Um, but it's one of those things of it's like when I finally said I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use this. Like I can't keep going. Oh, God, I'm just so depressed. I finally started taking steps to make it better.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's medicine. Sometimes people need help. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with that.
No.
Sometimes people need therapy. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's okay to not be okay,
Yeah.
but you can't use a crutch to justify not being okay and not getting help.
I love that.
And I swear, if I hear one more person say, I'm not going to go to therapy because I'm smarter than them, or I'm the smartest person in the room, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I'm superior, and blah, 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 when their life's not working.
Exactly. I know. I agree. No, I agree because therapy is everything for me. It
Right.
was like one of the best things ever. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, you know what? Maybe someone does know more than the therapist. Maybe they all do have a higher IQ than the therapist,
Right.
but they can help you through it. They can help you talk through it. And I really wish these people who would say my adoption is the reason why I can't find my identity, they can walk you down the path of self-discovery to make you realize, nope, it's you.
Yeah.
It's you. It's not the fact that you're now foster to adopt. I could see where that would be a struggle,
Right.
especially
Right.
if you're bounced from house to house,
Right. Right.
because you probably start to feel like you're unlovable.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. And I know people talk about like with the like is me and you being adopted as babies and it's like, well, there's still trauma and whatever. And it's like
Not mine.
I feel like
Maybe it's someone else's, but not mine.
the
Mine's
older
like,
but
I'm sorry, but like I struck the lottery with my family. Like I really did.
yeah, well, like
Like
and
I
even
mean,
no,
yeah.
but even if there's like I don't know, issues or rifts with families, kids are adopted into, you can still find light in people that are in your life. You know what I mean? Like there are
100%.
there's friends, there's cousins, maybe with your siblings, if you have struggles with your parents, or maybe if you have struggles with your siblings, it
Woo,
could be your
woo,
parents. You know what I mean? Like cousins, you can reach out to
yes.
other people. Like, there's
I mean,
something,
hell,
yeah.
my mom and I wasn't, there's one me, my mom and I have an interesting relationship, but it's a close relationship. Then I have my sister that lives here. I mean, heck, my sister and I were going back and forth and having our usual sister spat. And it's like, I'm over here like, stop treating me like a child. And she's like, I'm not treating you like a child. I'm protecting you. And I'm like, stop it. But it's like that's
Yeah,
it could not be any closer. What I'm saying is it could not be any closer if we were blood related.
right.
And she's that secondary person to my mom. And my mom, my
Yeah,
mom will always be number one, but like
yeah,
Brittany's that supplemental care that I need. And you can always, like you said, you can always find that in your family. You can
mhm,
find that like sibling, cousin,
yeah.
whatever. It just made me laugh when you said that. It made me
Think of
mentally
that.
jump back to when, I mean, it was literally last week that we
That's so funny.
going back and forth. And it was, yeah, we were going back and forth and it was about my mom. It was so
Yeah,
funny. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I was like, I just need you to understand where I'm coming from. She's like, I understand where you're coming from. She was like, and it's messed up. You need to stop thinking like that. And I was like, I'm trying.
That's so funny. No,
But
but
keep going. Sorry. That
no, no, no. I love that you said that though, because I mean, I'm not discrediting like, adoptions that can be harder and tougher, where there's secrets or there's hardship or anything like that. I'm
right,
not
which is messed
discrediting
up.
any of that. None of that. But I'm saying, like, if you truly want to like find happiness, and I think me and you have both discovered this, you have to work on yourself. It comes from
Mhm.
you. It doesn't come from other people. Like validation's always nice. It's always nice to be told nice things and these and this and this. But like
Right.
I've learned the real power is I know myself, Milena, can do that. I know that
Mhm.
I can do that. I know that I can feel that
Right.
way. I don't need somebody else, you know what I mean, validating me and like all those kids. I'm not saying that it's
Right.
not nice to have people say nice things about you, because we're human. We like that. But
Right. And attaboy every once in a while is cool, but
exactly. Yeah. But it's like when it comes to it, and that's where it just makes me sad that they feel like adoption has per se stolen their identity or made it hard to find their identity. And it's like, well, then search harder. Like,
but
I know it's probably mean, but
right. But I mean, like, but at the same time, like I mean, I felt like I had to look at how I wanted to be known. You know what I mean?
yes.
Like, and there's still people out there who want to, in their passive aggressive ways, try to act like as a, because strong women who speak their minds
Yes.
are always labeled as, for lack of a better term, sorry, anybody who's a younger ear and listening, because I don't cuss, but they're usually labeled as bitchy
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
unkind,
Right.
which
Right.
drives me crazy
Yeah.
because that doesn't mean you're bitchy or unkind. It's
Correct.
you're not afraid to stand up for what's right.
Right.
And there are certain hills worth dying on.
Yeah.
And I like to pick them and then die on them
Yeah.
because I am not going to have someone else pick my identity for me. And I feel like that's important that people feel. I'm trying to think of a way to say this. I'm almost curious if the people who feel like because they don't know who they are is because of outside influence.
Oh, I can see
Being
that.
told
Yeah.
that just mix, I don't know. And I'm not saying like, oh, you're told you don't know who you are, but maybe there can be passive aggressive comments made. And if you don't have a strong sense of self, you can usually fall victim to that. I feel like maybe, possibly. I
No,
mean,
you're Kate. Let me say this because you're like 100% speaking to it. It's before I met you. And I found all these adoptees that were so angry about it. And I was surrounding myself with it to where I'm
mhm,
thinking, do I need to be feeling this way? Because this is
no,
mainly what I'm seeing. You know what I
nope,
mean? But I get how then people are like, and then I met Delancey, and she was like this light of and breath of fresh air. And then as I've gotten to know her more, she's 100% feels everything the exact same way I feel about adoption. So it hasn't been as like scary to go on like social media anymore and be like, no, I feel this way. I feel
yeah,
this way. And it's okay for me to feel this way. Because if it's okay
exactly.
for you to go on and be like, God's not in adoption, what are the other ones? Adoption trauma, adoption fog, and all this. And it's
Oh
okay for
God, I
you
hate
to
that
say
term.
that. then why isn't it
Right.
okay for me to speak my truth? And that's what I've
Exactly.
loved about Delancey is like she was the light that I knew that I needed. And
Mhm.
you hear all the time too, the top 5 people you surround yourself with are the top 5, or like you're going to be most like them. You know what I mean? And so it goes back to what she's saying. Like, don't be around
It's, yeah,
shitty people.
don't be around people. You have to be
Yeah.
around people who, and I was actually talking about this with some friends this past weekend, at my best friend's wedding. Congratulations, Jimbo and Tori, just throwing that in there. Um, and we were talking about that when a few of us went to breakfast the next day. And, I'm usually the odd man out. Everyone's like either engaged or they're married now. I'm legitimately I'm the last single female in the group. Um, and we're all sitting there talking and everything. And, I've struggled with relationships and it's not for any other reason, but like I just struggled with them. I'm terrible at picking them. And that was because I go back to the whole entire, I didn't have a strong relationship with God. I didn't value who I am as a person. And it just wasn't, it just wasn't, it wasn't the right time
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Anyway, we were talking about how, they're asking me about where I am now and what I'm doing. And I was updating them and everything. And they're all just like, my goodness gracious, we're so proud of you. We're just so happy for you. You look fantastic. I haven't seen some of them in 5 to 7 years, if
Wow.
not a little bit longer. Um, but having those conversations and then being like, you just have this whole new light about you. What is that? And I said, well, um, I've started surrounding myself with people who love on me, who support me, but who also challenge me to elevate myself and to make myself into a better person. Because if you have people and who think a little bit differently than me from different walks of life, and we start talking about, there's another friend in the group that is is probably the same thing, kind of the same boat as me, maybe a little bit different. And the response is just kind of like, I mean, they were saying the same thing. Like we tell him all the time, like you have to surround yourself with people who are gonna, as someone else said this morning, they're gonna sharpen you, they're gonna challenge you, they're gonna elevate you.
Ooh, I
You
like
can't
that.
surround yourself with like-minded people because if you surround yourself with yes men, you're gonna plateau. You're not
Right.
gonna be
Right.
anything. You're meant to be more than where you are right now.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like I'll probably hold the job title that I hold for quite some time, which is
Yeah.
fine. I'm not, I don't care about titles. What I care about, and some people may be like, oh, you're plateauing, you're staying in the same job title. That doesn't mean anything. There's always something to learn so that you're constantly elevating yourself in some way, shape, or form. You're
Right.
building relationships, you're doing more than that. And when you stunt yourself, like focusing on, I'm adopted, I am seeing this trend of angry adoptees. I feel differently than them, but maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I should, you know what I mean? Like I should fall in
Yeah.
line with them. And it's kind of like
Right.
when you have so many people telling you that or even one person that tries to passive aggressively tell you that you're wrong. Cause like
Yeah.
I have a couple people in my life that try to do that
Yeah.
to make themselves, I guess, look better. I don't know. But it goes back to the whole entire, when you put in the work like you have and like I have, and we surround ourselves with people when we struggle to stand strong, when people try to come at us,
Yeah.
if you don't have that group,
Yeah.
you will definitely fail and fall and just stunt who you are. I just can't. Moral of the story, like you said, surround yourself with people who not just push you to be better, but they hold you accountable, they challenge you, and they're going to love on you. They will
Agreed.
love on you when they tell you, what the hell were you thinking?
Agreed.
And but love on you at the same time, like, basically metaphorically hug you, stroke your hair, tell you you're pretty, and then say, what the hell, bro? Like, how did you go do that?
But it's good. Like it's
Yeah.
good, you know? And I love what you said is like, okay, even though I know Delancey and I probably know more about her job than like, well, maybe not everybody, because I know she's probably got some friends, but like some of our listeners do, is I know she's somebody who she's willing to go and do different things and help out where needed and to learn and to, I know that with her job because of things that she's told me before. So maybe she's holding that job title, but she's always willing to like go try and do new things and be there for people and help out and put herself in situations where it might be stressful, but she's willing to
And
help
it might
people
be
figure it
uncomfortable.
out. Yeah, but she's willing to help people figure it out, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. That is huge. You know what I mean? And so, and she's somebody for me, how she was talking about how like you need those people in your life. She is somebody who, I mean, you guys don't see our text messages or voice messages to each
Oh,
other
thank God. They would
personally.
laugh.
But like even about personal things,
Right.
she's somebody I know I can confide in when things happen. When hard things happen, I can be like, "Hey, this is going on." And then she can be like, she's so good to like, because I'm the type when things happen, I get crazy anxiety and I kind of go in like a flight or fight mode. I really, really do. Like, I want to go take care of this right now. But like,
Mhm.
I know for me, I need to have like a minute to calm down because if not, crap's can be flying out of my mouth. But she's one of them that's
Mhm.
like, talk to me, like, relax, like, it's okay. Like,
I
you
was
know
say
what
you
I
can even
mean?
like let it fly with me. Like that's
Yeah.
completely fine. But like
Yeah.
let's work through this.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And so that's where I appreciate her. And I know any of her friends that listen to can vouch and say that for her as well, because she's just one of those people. And I guarantee you her nieces and nephews are like that too. And that's what I love about her is I feel like both of us are the type that we want to listen to people and we truly genuinely want to be there for them and try
Mhm.
and help them if we can. But like it's also really hard with like these adoptees when you see them not wanting to help themselves. That's where it
Mhm.
just makes me sad. Like you see them hurting so bad that it's like you don't know the joy that you can have if you just
Mhm.
try and
You
be a
just let
little bit
go.
happier. Yeah, a
You just
little
let
bit
go.
happier.
Well, and it's hard to have those conversations, when they like you said, we both like to listen. We both like to listen to understand what people are saying. And it's hard to have conversations with people when they're not listening to you. Like they're not listening to understand, they're listening to respond. Like they're listening
Right.
and waiting for their turn to speak instead of taking in what you're saying so that they can, instead of listening, to be able to follow up, I guess, to
Yeah.
have a dialogue, a meaningful dialogue. And with some of
Yeah.
these, with some angry adoptees, like I have, w- I don't know, I just even people that I've met, like there's a gentleman that I met, and I'm gonna use that term loosely, um, that he made it very clear, like he's very angry towards his biologicals. This is a full-blown grown man that's older than I am, and it was very clear that he's very angry. And he's like, I don't understand what anybody would ever want to meet. And I said, I mean, I met mine. And he goes, and I was like, oh. And I said, I'm just saying, and I just looked at him, and all I said was, I'm just saying it's probably not right for you to push your feelings about your personal situation onto everybody else.
You.
And
Thank
the
you.
look of shock on that man's face, because he was bigger than me, and he was
Yeah.
obviously one of those like, and don't, this is not the truth for all men in the South at all. Not one bit. Southern men are fantastic holistically, but this was one of those old school Southern
Yeah.
slash redneck individuals, man, that was very rough around the edges. And you can just tell that that's just the way it is. Women are, younger women are not meant to open their mouths and disagree. And especially when he feels so passionately about something. And I didn't disagree with him. All I said was, I just don't think it's right for you to push your opinions on
Right.
your situation to everybody else, because and he was like, well, I'll have something stupid like, I just don't see the point. They abandoned you. And I looked at him and I said, that's weaponizing verbiage.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you weren't dropped at a fire station. And I was like,
Right.
and I went, but you're allowed to feel how you feel.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I was like,
Yeah.
but don't get mad at me for stuff you're dealing with.
Right.
And that's where these other adoptees who say, I struggle with my identity, it's almost like they get upset with adoptees like us who are
Yeah.
like, adoption isn't my only part of my personality.
Right.
It's not the only part of my identity. Like that's not,
Yeah.
it's like people get mad when
Yeah.
you chip away at their narrative because the
Yes.
narrative doesn't make sense.
Go against it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but I like that's the thing that frustrates me is like they're allowed to get mad at us, but like we can't be frustrated too and be like, hey, but then I feel like we get frustrated, but we also say, but we get it. And I don't feel like
Yeah,
that
we
ever
get
comes from
you.
their side. It's just like,
Yeah.
no,
Like,
you have to feel this way. And it's like, no, like we understand why you may feel that way. We get that our hardships and you may feel this and that's great, but don't put
Right?
it over all of us, please. That's
Don't
what
put
we're
it on
asking.
us.
Yeah, don't put it over everybody.
That's
Like,
probably what makes them the most matters. Like, no, we hear you, we understand you, we just don't
yeah,
agree with you.
agreed. Yeah,
And
agreed.
that's probably what drives them crazy.
Mhm.
Is it's like, no, you have to agree with me. And it's like, whoa,
It's so true though. No, it's so true. Yeah. No,
it's a very interesting thing.
agreed.
That's the
Yeah.
only word I can come up with. I was like, there's got to be a better word. There wasn't.
No.
Not in this brain. Not right now.
Okay, well, like I said, we're gonna make this short. I know Delancey's got things to do. I've got things to do. But is there any last bit words that you want to say on adoption identity? I could even say that.
Adoption is part of your identity, not your whole identity. That's it.
That's gonna be the
That
quote. No, it is. It's gonna be the quote because I love it. There's a couple other ones. It's probably gonna be a quote and a video from Delancey because she had some bombs, truth bombs coming in today, and I love it. She really is. Like, I know she's always like, "Oh, like," but she really has so many good words of wisdom. That's why I'm always like, Delancey, you said this and this and this and this. She's just so
and my response is usually I did.
good. It's true.
I did.
But it's good because we just talk about so much and I love it. And so I get it. Anyway, okay, this was short and sweet. Thank you guys. Thank you, Delancey, for doing this with me, short and sweet today. And yeah,
Absolutely.
and just catch us next time. And as always, thanks, guys. Listen, share, like all the things. I'm always going to plug that in now because it helps us.
Always.
Anyway, all
And
right.
leave a
Thanks.
review.
Yes, yes, yes. Leave a review. All right. Thanks, guys. We will catch you next time.